So all four of those phrases come from different players, different eras, totally different sounds. But what I discovered after analyzing hundreds of jazz transcriptions is that they all share the underlying jazz language. And it's a lot smaller of a set of patterns than you might expect. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 9 essential jazz patterns that make up nearly all jazz improvised language and how to combine them, like these great musicians, to form longer phrases. And there are 3 big discoveries that I want to share with you. The first one is that jazz language is not random. Now, many of these master jazz musicians want you to believe that they're just divining their improvised solos from a mystical place where you can't access that.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
But it's just not true. Just like any language that we learn, it has certain patterns and rules and vocabulary that we can also acquire and then express ourselves with. So that's the very first one. It's very important to understand that you too can access this even if you struggled before with various methods. The second big discovery is that much of this language is built off of a very small set of recurring patterns. These are what I call essential jazz patterns, and I'm going to show you those today in this lesson. They're very simple, and it's how you combine them and all of the work that goes into practicing that, internalizing that, that doesn't diminish the creativity and the work that is required to be able to express yourself in an improvised way. And the third big discovery here is that those ideas, those essential jazz patterns, can be combined in endless ways to generate infinite amount of unique phrases. So all of these jazz masters that I showed previously can express their own unique style and ability, still using the same essential jazz patterns. This whole method is something that I've been working on for years, even all the way back in 2022 and 2023. This idea was originally 31 essential jazz patterns, and since then I've refined it further into these 9 essential jazz patterns and a couple of bonus ones that I'll talk about at the end that you might want to know as well. So I've been working on this for a long time and created a whole curriculum from this master improvisation blueprint, as well as a whole new jazz phrase system, which we'll talk about later as well. There's a lot of detail to this, but the idea that I want to share with you guys is that it's very simple to start understanding it and applying it. It will help you understand these solos very, very easily without too much of the music theory slog that you might be going through. So let's start off with the first essential jazz pattern, which is just a 1-2-3 pattern. Now this idea, we'll do this in the key of C, is just the idea of playing up a scale, 1, 2, 3. And you can do that from any starting note. So it could be C, D, E, could be D, E, F, E, F, G, ascending or descending. All of those are 1, 2, 3 essential jazz pattern 1. One other little detail here is sometimes you'll hear this not as a linear 1, 2, 3, but as a set of notes, what we might call a melodic cell, which just means that instead of playing it up or down, sometimes we'll skip around between those 3 notes. So think about it more like a set of notes, like 3, 1, 2, 3. We saw that in the earlier Grant Green example as well. So that's the first essential jazz pattern. Essential jazz pattern 2 is just a triad. So C, E, G, again in the key of C. Here as well, you might see it not just played linearly, but as a set of notes. A lot of times these 3-note patterns will add a note in so that we can play it as 4 notes, because that lines up in our traditional 8th note line feel much better. So a triad pattern you might see here would be like 5, 1, 3, 5. Or 1, 3, 5, 1. That's essential jazz pattern 2. Essential jazz pattern 3 is the combination of scale and triad, which is the 1, 2, 3, 5. And this pattern doesn't get talked about nearly enough because it does get used a lot in actual solos. And it's this pattern of 1, 2, 3, and then 5. So we have the scale part, but also the triad within it, 1, 3, 5. And it's a 4-note group. So all contained, it's very, very useful to move around with. And you'll see guys like Joe Pass, John Coltrane, tons and tons of players use this pattern. It's not just a guitar thing. You see it ascending and descending. So that's these first 3 essential jazz patterns. I think about this as sort of the melodic content of your basic solo. And if we want to put other language analogies onto this, you can think about these as sort of the nouns of the jazz language. They give us the subject that we're talking about. Essential jazz pattern 4 is our 7th arpeggio. So just the arpeggio from the root. For the C major, C, E, G, B. So now we have 4 notes in this pattern. It's a little bit more complex. And this pattern has a lot more range to it. We ascend more or we descend faster. Either way, we're getting more movement here, and that movement is going to make these next set of patterns what I call our verbs. And with these arpeggios, their action is to describe the harmony that we're playing over. So you see this a lot where we have the arpeggios to describe the harmony. What a lot of people miss is that we want to do more with our improvisation than just describe the harmony. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient here to actually have a good solo. If you just played arpeggios, it would sound like an exercise, and that's what a lot of guys starting out sound like. So that's the essential jazz pattern 4, just the arpeggio from the root, C. Essential jazz pattern 5 is our 9th arpeggio, or you can think about it like playing an arpeggio from the 3rd. If we start on an arpeggio from the 3rd, E, G, B, D, we get up to the 9th of our chords, C major 9. You'll also notice that this is still just an arpeggio itself. E, G, B, D is an E minor 7 arpeggio. Again, these can be ascending or descending. Essential jazz pattern 6 is our pivot arpeggio, and this is one where we have a jump of a 6th. That's how I think about it. So say we're starting on the 3rd here of our arpeggio for C. E, we could jump up a 6th and then come back down, either as a triad or still with that arpeggio or as a scale. Or you can jump lower, like E down to G and come back up. So it's that same arpeggio, E, G, B, D, that we had, but the way we play it and the way it functions is different. So it's a different essential jazz pattern. E, G, B, D. E, G, B, D. Same group of notes, but in this case, the function of that arpeggio is very different. Where we end up is different, and so it's a different pattern that we'll see. It's less common as a guitarist because of the string skips, but still a very, very important one, especially in a lot of horn player bebop language. Okay, so that's our middle 3, 4, 5, and 6 that are our arpeggios. And then the last 3 essential jazz patterns, 7 through 9, are chromaticism. And I think about these like the adjectives or adverbs. They're connecting our first 3 essential jazz patterns and our arpeggios. They give us some of this connection and description, embellishment, if you will. So essential jazz pattern 7 is continuous chromaticism. And you see this where we go just moving by half step. So E, F, F sharp, G. That kind of idea. By itself, it's not really melodic content. It's very clearly connecting to another spot. We started here, and our ear finally lands on a target. A lot of times these patterns have a specific target note, and we are hearing it want to go somewhere. So that's how you might experience these essential jazz patterns for this last set. Essential jazz pattern 8 is our 2-note enclosure, where we use 2 notes, one above and one below, either one starting, to target a single note. So you might say, oh, we want to target this C. We do an enclosure, or even there's many different kinds of enclosures depending on the context of the chord and how you want to use the chromaticism. The essential part of it is that it's 2 notes to enclose a single target note. We also have Essential Jazz Pattern 9, which is our 3-note enclosure. And this has one extra note to get to that target note, and it usually is starting on an upbeat. So say we're targeting that same C, so it'd be like 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3. So that's the 3-note enclosure versus the 2-note. We just add one extra note, usually in the middle of that, to give it 3 notes and properly land our target note. So that's all 9 of the essential jazz patterns. And what's really, really cool about this is you can see that in any phrase we look at, they are just a combination of these 9 essential jazz patterns, also including the next 2 that I'll talk about in a second. But first I want to show you how we can connect these and how real phrases from real solos use these essential jazz patterns in combination to create long, interesting musical phrases. So let's do this one from Benson first. Okay, so this crazy lick from Benson, in first hearing it, you might go, okay, I don't know what he's doing. He's kind of just playing over this G alter sound. There's no pattern to easily latch onto. And this is just because you're not used to hearing these patterns in context. So let's break this one down, because all it is a combination of a few different essential jazz patterns. He starts off, this is over G7. He starts off with that 9th arpeggio. I know it's that because it's starting on the 3rd of G7. Then we start this chromatic pattern. So that's essential jazz pattern 5 starting, going into essential jazz pattern 7. All of that chromaticism, continuous chromaticism. Now he goes into this 5-3-2-1. 5-3-2-1, thinking of A flat as the 1. So 5-3-2-1, flat 3 in this case. He's thinking A flat minor. And then ending it with more chromaticism. So it's essential jazz pattern 5, 7, 3, 7. And that's this whole idea, connecting exactly from one to the next. Let's look at another example from Joe Pass. It sounds like this. So I really like this idea from Joe Pass because it's very, very straightforward. He starts off with a 1, 2, 3, 5 over A minor. Joe Pass loves doing that, by the way. Then he's playing a scale. He's just playing a scale descending until he hits the 3rd of D7. And then from here, he does that leap of a 6. That's the giveaway for the pivot arpeggio. Comes back down descending. Now from here, he can resolve depending on where the chord is going to land. But that part doesn't matter for the sake of this phrase. That's how he would connect to the next one. So all of that is essential jazz pattern 3, pattern 1 with the scale, pattern 6 with the arpeggio. And those are different ways that you can start to combine them. Now what I did is I actually analyzed to make sure that this system was real, coming from real solos. I made sure that every single combination of one essential jazz pattern into any of the other 9 actually existed in a real solo. And I did a whole spreadsheet of this manually before AI of all of the combinations, in many cases multiple examples of them. And from there, after having it just as a manual spreadsheet, now what I've done is put it into the Jazz Phrase system, which I just recently launched. We have about 40 founder spots left if you guys want to check that out down below before the price increases. And what this has is nearly 400 phrases, with my goal being 10,000 phrases. I'm going to get 10,000 real jazz phrases in here so that you can understand these essential jazz pattern combinations. You can have real jazz phrases to learn, to incorporate into your vocabulary. And what I'm really excited about is the feedback that I'm getting from these early founder members, that it's really impacting how they can hear these phrases already. Within just the first few weeks, I'm hearing from these guys that are saying they are playing these phrases just naturally in their playing without thinking about it for the first time. They legitimately feel like their ear is getting better, even though they've been trying to do this for years. But just the way that I've set up the practice method in Jazz Phrase System, that's audio first, so you have to hear the phrase and then play it back. already it's having a huge impact for these guys. So I want you to have that as well, and you get that with the founder member spot. Last thing, there are 2 essential jazz patterns that are not part of the 9, and I want to explain these very, very quickly. As I was analyzing these hundreds of solos, there were 2 spots that came up that didn't really quite fit with the 9 essential jazz patterns. Now, the first one of those is what I'm calling essential jazz pattern 0. And it's something I encountered with Grant Green because he does this a lot. And it's where the player just plays a repeated note. So it's not really a pattern on its own, at least melodically. They're just playing with the rhythm of the note. So I call it essential jazz pattern 0 because the interval is a unison. There's no movement on interval. They're just playing rhythmically. So that does happen in some of these solos, and that's how I'm going to categorize that now, and how you see that in jazz phrase system categorized. The other one is essential jazz pattern 10, which I didn't originally have because I was focused on specific jazz language and looking at a lot of bebop players that weren't using anything outside of this bebop language. However, as a guitarist and analyzing solos from guys like Grant Green and Benson and Joe Pass, etc., they use a lot of blues language. They use a lot of pentatonic. And I needed a way of capturing when they're actually thinking of a pentatonic scale, even though it could be described as a 7th arpeggio. So I want to really capture this accurately for how they're most likely using this based on what I know of these phrases and the guitar specific way of playing these things. So essential jazz pattern 10 is a pentatonic type of approach where you might see some parts of that might be described as a 7th arpeggio, but it's really just a pentatonic scale. So those are 2 extra essential jazz patterns that you might see inside jazz phrase system as far as how I describe it that sort of fit outside of describing jazz language. We have the rhythmic aspect with essential jazz pattern 0 and the pentatonic blues element that gets borrowed a lot of times in jazz solos. If you guys want to learn my systematic method for these essential jazz patterns and essential jazz vocab, I have an entire master improvisation blueprint course inside Chase's Guitar Academy. We have a bunch of guys that are going through it and have gone through it, and they're really seeing, even from the first few lessons, they're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel of how this is changing the way that they think about improvisation. Like I said, just from the first few lessons. I'll put up a couple of those here. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out, 7-day free trial. See you guys in the next video.